The morning sun wasn't even up yet, and already my day was about to get interesting. You ever have one of those moments where you just know you're about to witness something stupid? That was me, coffee in hand, watching through the kitchen window as three grown men in matching blue polos tried to sneak across my property like the world's worst ninja team. HOA Security Division. Their shirts said bold as brass, though honestly, I've seen middle school hall monitors with more dignity. These guys had clipboards, khakis, and the kind of cautious energy you get from folks who've read about adventure but never actually lived it. They didn't realize I'd just put in motion-triggered sprinklers the week before. The first one hit the sensor at 6:47 a.m. sharp, and the noise that came out of him, I swear it's a miracle the windows didn't crack. The second guy in full panic mode dodged right into my electric fence. Don't worry, it was just on livestock mode, but from his reaction, you'd have thought he'd discovered religion. The third poor soul met me at the gate where I was standing, my grandfather's hickory stick in hand, ready for whatever came next. I'm Jake Sullivan, and I own a 12-acre ranch smack inside Windstone Valley Estates, a name that sounds fancier than the reality. When I bought this place 3 years ago, the realtor swore up and down the HOA was barely a presence for ranch properties. You know how they say you should always read the fine print? Yeah, that. Or better yet, I should have met Karen Blackwood, the HOA president, before I signed anything. Now, Karen, let me tell you about her. The kind of woman who could quote the bylaws from memory and somehow make you feel like you were on trial for high crimes every time you left your trash cans out 10 minutes too long. Her husband Gerald worked at an accounting firm downtown, and rumor had it he spent late nights there just to avoid her next crusade. Some folks collect stamps. Karen collects grudges, especially if you happen to own livestock. It started about 6 months back with a letter formal, of course complaining about my rooster, General Patton. Apparently he was crowing outside of approved avian vocalization hours. I didn't even know such a thing existed, but Karen found it buried in subsection 12.3.6 of the guidelines. I tried to explain gently that you can't exactly teach a rooster to respect quiet hours. Didn't matter. Next thing I know, she's citing unauthorized livestock rules, telling me I had 30 days to get rid of all my animals. And then came the parade of complaints. My American flag was excessive. My truck was parked at the wrong angle. The handmade sign by my gate. Trespassers will be composted. Just a joke, was considered threatening. I started answering her letters with legal citations, pointing out that ranch properties were exempt from most of the rules. But Karen just doubled down. When I began copying the entire HOA board and posting everything on Facebook, that's when she lost it. At the next HOA meeting, my first, by the way, she stood up and called for a special assessment on ranch properties to fund more compliance inspections. Claimed I was bringing down home values. I stood read from the State Agricultural Protection Act, which, by the way, overrides HOA authority for actual working properties. Karen's face went from red to purple. She slammed her gavel, broke it in half, and stormed out. The next morning, a notice was taped to my gate, 17 violations, $500 a pop per day. That's $8, $500 daily for the mathematically challenged. I snapped a photo, sent it to my lawyer, a guy who loves this kind of nonsense. He called back, almost giddy, said Karen had just handed us a textbook harassment case. But Karen wasn't done. She hired a so-called security team, 3 guys named Brad. Not even kidding. They became known as the Brad Brigade. Every morning, they'd park their van just off my land, snapping pictures, setting up survey gear. One day, they tried to claim my fence was 6 inches over the property line. I pulled out my survey from when I bought the place, showed them it was actually 2 feet inside. They acted like my surveyor's credentials didn't count. That's when I put up 14 security cameras, yes, 14 around the perimeter. The Brads got creative. They'd blast music from their van just before the noise ordinance took effect. Filed anonymous animal cruelty reports. Animal control came out, left with fresh eggs and a smile. Claimed my pond was a mosquito breeding ground. County inspector took one look, told them not to waste his time again. Then came the morning Karen decided to play sheriff. She made up some official-looking documents sent the Brad Brigade to perform what she called a lawful entry for community safety verification. No warrant, no law enforcement, no permission from me. Just 3 guys climbing my fence at dawn. First Brad sprinkler victim again. Second Brad grabbed the electric fence and danced a jig. Third Brad faces me at the gate, tries to push past, gets tangled in my old rose bushes, comes out looking like he lost a fight with a wildcat. They hollered about assault and lawsuits, but I pointed at my cameras and told them the footage would tell the real story. Not even 2 hours later, the sheriff's deputies showed up, 3 of them. Karen in tow, arms crossed, parked by her shiny white Lexus, with her "I've won" face. The lead deputy, a guy I knew from the diner, looked genuinely sorry to be there. Karen claimed I'd taken hostages, threatened the HOA with deadly weapons, used the words terrorist threat. The deputy asked for my footage, so I queued it up on my tablet right there at the gate. We watched it together. The trespass, the sprinklers, the fence, the rosebush debacle. The deputy actually laughed. Then he turned to Karen and asked if she'd authorized these men to enter private property without a warrant. She started rambling about HOA authority and easement rights, but the deputy cut her off slow and careful, like he was explaining to a child. HOA rules don't trump criminal law. Trespassing is trespassing. Filing a false report, also a crime. He asked me if I wanted to press charges. I said I'd drop it all if the HOA dropped the fines and stopped harassing me. Karen lost it, screaming about her rights, threatening to have the deputy's badge. The guy just shook his head, called for backup, not for me, but for Karen. 2 more units arrived and they started interviewing the Brads, who confessed that Karen gave them fake documents complete with forged county seals, and get this, she spelled the county name wrong. The investigation that followed brutal. Subpoenas flew and they found Karen had been fining people without board approval, paying the Brad Brigade under the table, inventing over 60 fake violations, even submitting complaints under the names of residents who'd moved years ago. The county prosecutor didn't hesitate, filed charges for forgery, fraud, misuse of funds, and harassment. At the emergency HOA board meeting, the whole neighborhood showed up. Gerald sat in back, head in hands, as the board's lawyer detailed Karen's mess. The vote to kick her out unanimous. She tried to grandstand, but the lawyer told her to sit or leave. She slammed every door on her way out. The trial was quick. Karen's lawyer tried to claim she honestly believed she had authority, but the mountain of forged paperwork made that laughable. The prosecutor showed emails where Karen actually plotted to financially ruin anyone who stood up to her, including especially yours truly. Jury was out less than 2 hours, guilty on all counts. The judge threw the book at her. 18 months in jail, 3 years probation, 47 grand in restitution to her victims. Karen looked like her soul left her body. Gerald walked out. Her lawyer couldn't pack fast enough. When the bailiff cuffed her, she was still ranting about grass height and garbage bins, as if that was going to save her. Funny thing is, Windstone Valley's been quieter since Karen left. Lawns still get mowed, flags still wave, roosters still crow. But you tell me, was I right to fight back, or did I go too far? Should we let HOAs have this much power, or do you think folks like Karen are exactly why we need people to stand up and push back? I really want to know what you think. Drop your thoughts down below, share your own stories, and let's see where this wild ride of neighborly justice takes us.